22 handicap, having issues with the longer irons as they tend to fade, and all the way up to the driver, which can turn into more of a slice. So you might have seen the action there and know what's coming, but we'll start with the setup. As you're a little bit too far out on the toes and bent over too much from the waist, try to settle back and stand up a little bit more from that starting position. It should also raise your handle just a bit and flattening that club so it sits more flush on the turf. But we'll clean that up, get our primary path line and a line on the rear end here. Play it through one more time to completion and see that the inside takeaway has a ton of knee flex forward and a true lock of that trail leg. So you've pivoted your hips open, you've started that club to the inside, you're trying to tilt your shoulders down, but it's a tough move to get out of when that back leg locks up like this. So you can see it's still locked. You're now trying to turn more with the upper body, but you instead just lift the hands up higher, and you're again already too close to the ball with your tilt angle leaning over. Not to mention the club at the top, but we can't go into everything now. Path will start to come down a little bit steep, and then you clear space by jumping out of your way instead of turning and rotating. So quickly to that point, if we watch how your knees flex in the backswing, it's way too much, but the left knee will flex forward and the trail knee will straighten up. Two motions happening in opposite directions, right? We'll play it through. Left knee comes forward, right knee comes back. Now in the downswing, you would think it would make sense to inverse that motion and pull the left knee back and drive the right knee forward. However, that can spin you out and not really get your weight to transfer and cause you to hit some fat shots behind the ball. So it looks like that's what's starting to happen. The right knee drives forward, but the left knee is not clearing back. So you begin to fall forward into the ball. Now you've run out of real estate, you're way too close to it, so the natural reaction is get out of your way so you can at least make contact with the ball. Both legs have fully extended and jumped instead of rotated, and then that's a ground force type of speed that you're trying to generate. So back to what the tour comparison is about. So we'll flip over to Gary Woodland, where you can see more knee flex, higher bend angle from the waist, but I'll do the same lines on him here, where we draw the path and a line on the rear end. We'll see most pros are going to take that club a little bit to the outside on the takeaway, gets decent depth to the top, and the rear end will maintain that connection to the line behind you. Let's watch the knee flex. The left knee flexes forward, not as much as yours, and the right knee pulls back to straighten, but not to a locking position. Now, as the unwind occurs, that left knee disappears behind. The right knee will drive both in towards the ball and also to target. It's a direction that gets the weight forward and allows the hips to open up. Lastly, the rear end is now exceeded the starting position as the weight is now getting to the left heels and the tilt angle has been maintained. So if we jump with two lines here from 1 to 6, address to impact, I'll draw the rear end and the spine. We're at 1, there's impact. So the hips have cleared up, the spine has compressed a little bit, and as we know, the body's turned open. If we jump back to yours from the setup, rear end line through the spine, 1 to 6, and instead the hips come in and the body stands up. So that's, there's a lot of information there. I know it, there's a lot to work on, but it begins with the setup. And to clear things up one last time, try to increase the knee flex and reduce the bend from the waist. It's opposite of what you're doing now. And then as your first task, reduce your knee flex in this backswing. Work on some short swings. With your new address position, your hands aren't likely to get as far stuck behind you as they are now, and do not lock out that trail leg. It can pull back to turn your hips, but it should not come to a point where you're completely straight and 90 degrees with that knee flex. So good luck with those changes. The rest of the downswing will have to change at a later point in time, but begin your setup and backswing changes for now. Good luck. SundaySwing.com